I'm going to beat you into the living death.
Welcome to Yelling About Mixed Martial Arts, the show where I yell about mixed martial arts. This past weekend, there was no UFC. So like any white male with rage issues, I decided to watch animal attack videos. Here's one that I particularly enjoyed. Not gonna lie, I probably would have watched that all night long had I not realized that the PFL's new tournament was just starting up. So I decided to watch that instead, and what a decision that turned out to be. This, of course, was not my first rodeo with the PFL. I had watched it in the past, and I knew that there were things that I liked, and I knew that there were things that I didn't like about the promotion. But this past weekend's event really brought all of those to the forefront in a very nice, encapsulating way. So this week, I figured let's talk about the Professional Fighters League. First and foremost, how were the fights? Well, this week began the light heavyweights and the featherweights portion of the tournament, and the fights were decent. A few decent submissions, lots of decisions, no knockouts, but hey, it's the first week of a bracketed tournament, so I think some people might have been taking it a little bit light on their bodies. Standout performances included an impressive submission victory for Josh Silveira. Impa Kasangane put on a fucking show, putting the state of Florida on his back, hell yeah, and Vasher Menorge, Martin Hamlet, brings home a victory for the Norwegians. On the other side of the coin, it was an unfortunate evening for ex-UFC fighters with losses coming to Marlon Moraes, Thiago Santos, and Krzysztof Jotko. Though it was not the actual main event, the people's main event was definitely Chris Wade versus Bubba Jenkins. Jenkins, who was on a goddamn roll, inducing this face all throughout his glorious pre-fight interview. Now, I didn't see the lead up to this fight, so I don't know if it was just Bubba Jenkins trying to sell the thing, but good lord was he making it apparent that he hates Chris Wade. Chris Wade, who has the temperament of a Vermont maple syrup farmer. For comparison, here is Chris Wade.
We're both vying for $1 million that only one of us can have. So it's just about, listen, respect everybody, but I don't fear any of them, and I'm looking forward to getting to compete against them all again.
And this is what Bubba Jenkins has to say about him.
I just don't like him. I just want to slap the out you, and I don't know if that's going to fix it. I'm a beat Wade senseless. I know I'm not going to be wrestling that much. Wrestling, you can't hurt him. You can only advance in position. I'm looking to hurt Chris Wade in every way possible.
Why? This vague, trumped-up beefery reminds me of Alexander Volkanovski when he was fighting Brian Ortega and using his lack of professionalism as his primary trash-talking tactic. Alexander Volkanovski, no one is buying you as a trash talker. You're the nicest man in Australia. Even the drop bears want to hang out with you. Alright, well fuck all of that noise though, because after that portion of the pre-fight interview, Bubba Jenkins goes on to utter one of the most baffling set of words I have ever heard strung together as trash talk in my entire fucking life.
Forget fighting. I wouldn't be caught on a boat with this guy if there's only 3 people in the world.
What? What the fuck? Now immediately upon hearing this, questions began flooding my mind. Question number 1. Why are you on a boat with this man? Did the world just suddenly end and you happened to be on a boat? Or did you get on the boat when the world started to go to shit? Where were you headed on this boat? Was it a 3-hour tour like Gilligan's Island, or was there a destination involved? What kind of boat was it? Was it a yacht? Was it a cruise ship? Was it a schooner? Everybody knows it's not a fucking schooner, it's a sailboat, you idiot!
A schooner is a sailboat, stupid head.
You know what? Regardless of the boat, why are there 3 people involved? Who is the third person? If it's the end of the world, I hope that it's a woman, or that's going to be a very long apocalypse for all 3 of you. 2 men, a lady, a boat, and the apocalypse, coming this fall to ABC. Jenkins would go on to win the fight, which does kind of pain me, not only because of all of that ridiculous lead up, but also because he landed a completely illegal knee that did not result in a point deduction for some perplexing reason, even though Chris Tione was the referee. Don't know what was going on there, but I digress. So that's a brief overview of the fights in this event, But let's now talk a little bit about the production value of the PFL, because what it may have lacked in in-cage fireworks during this event, it may have overcompensated for with its overall presentation. The first thing that jumped out to me is that the PFL is shot extremely well. The lighting is great, the angles at which they are shooting are great, everything looks very nicely visually presented, as it should, because it is being shot by enough cameras to make your fucking head spin. You have your standard apron cameras shooting over the side of the cage from various positions. You have your standard overhead cameras, both normal. Then you have the eerily named and very ethereal ghost camera, which shoots through the chain links of the fence and blurs them so that it looks like they're not even there. And you have the referee's point of view cam, where he has to wear these goggles that make him look like he's reffing the fight just before going off to teach a seminar on woodworking. If the cameras that capture the action are the meat and potatoes of the production, this is like having a high quality steak with 14 pounds of potatoes as the side. PFL, exercise some fucking portion control. This goes triple for the amount of graphic information that the PFL feels the need to shove down your throat mid-fight. Between the real-time stats and rotating factoids, it feels like I'm watching mixed martial arts through some jerk-off's Ultimate Gamer HUD. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to watch two people fight with the GoldenEye pause menu superimposed over the footage? Well, the PFL might be right for you. But it doesn't stop with just the graphics. Mid-fight, they're showing video footage of completely unrelated things and doing interviews with other fighters. Remember that illegal knee that I talked about during the Bubba Jenkins fight? This is how it played out on screen.
Nah, man, this is my title fight. I'm looking at it. This is my title fight. I've been training my butt off for this one. I'm ready. Firing all cylinders. Got one more week of training and I'm ready.
Entirely distracting and a complete slap in the face to the fighters who are risking life, limb, and brain cell to put on a show for you in the octagon. Truly, this is MMA for the TikTok generation with all of this visual overload. Something that Moist Critical was just talking about in one of his recent videos.
It's because it's a TikTok thing where everyone needs perpetual stimulation, constant jingling keys. It's pathetic. TikTok is absolutely rotted brains where people need like absolute activity at every single moment. They can't just listen to talking on there.
To be clear, everything from the ref cam to the factoids to fucking ChatGPT doing fight predictions has its place. That place is after the fight has concluded. For the love of God, PFL, dumb down your smart cage. Alright, this video is going to go on for an hour and a half if I don't chop it down, so let's speed run these last couple of points. Point number 1, gamble, gamble, gamble. Did you know that you can gamble on mixed martial arts? The PFL wants you to gamble on mixed martial arts. They want it so bad that they don't even care who you gamble with. That was the funny part to me. All this talk of the money line and not one advertisement for FanDuel, not one advertisement for DraftKings. I don't think that they have an official betting partner. They just want you to put your money down. They don't care where, they don't care with who. Point number 2, Wiz Khalifa is here! Good Lord, if they wanted you to know that Wiz Khalifa was in the building anymore, they would have had a static camera pointed at him the entire event that they would have put on the screen in perpetuity with the rest of the Epic Gamer HUD. Point number 3, and perhaps most entertaining to me, was the fact that for all of the great production value that I mentioned earlier in this video, one thing stuck out like a sore thumb. That was the spots in the broadcast which were allotted for commercial breaks. You see, on ESPN where the show was airing, I assume they were getting regular commercials. However, on ESPN Plus, there were no commercials, and it never cut away. So while people on ESPN were getting regular commercials, people on ESPN Plus were getting this.
welcome back to PFL regular season.
Kind of pulls back the curtain on the whole thing, doesn't it? It's like Disneyland. The ESPN guests up front get to see the polished princess. The ESPN Plus peasants in the back get to see the chick playing her, smoking cigarettes and drinking coffee. So that's all of my thoughts on the PFL. Kind of a lot of information, but I didn't think it was too much of a problem considering that absolutely nothing else has happened this week in the world of mixed martial arts. Not one single thing else has happened. Not one. For yelling about mixed martial arts, this is Thinker St. James reminding you that if you care this much about MMA, you too are a fucking moron.
I don't like the way he wins. I don't like the way he loses. I don't like him as a person. I don't like him as a man.
I do not like him in the cage. I do not like him fighting Sage. I do not like this match they made. I do not like that man Chris Wade. Bet you didn't know that Dr. Seuss's first name was Bubba, did ya?